Okay, let's go then without wasting any time.
Hmm.
So I think you can start with what you were telling me that day, and then we'll take it from there.
See, um, one of the most important parts of launching a new product, okay, is to launch a new product and be unique in the product that you're launching. Okay.
Hmm.
And what is uniqueness is a very tricky question. I thought uniqueness was easy to understand, but it can become tricky to some other people.
Hmm.
See, we have as a founder, especially somebody who's starting, who's building a company and not talking to others about that particular product, you are very internal focused. Okay.
Hmm.
And you don't tend to look at other people, customers and stuff like that. You just become overtly internally focused and you keep working inside your head only. Okay.
Hmm.
So your definition of uniqueness is limited to your view of what other people are doing. Okay. And
Hmm.
what you think you want to do. Okay. So you are
Hmm.
comparing with your own potential with what you are seeing other people delivering. And you also tend to think that your own internal operations being different from others is a differentiation. So for example, let's say if you are a combination of WhatsApp and email and you are saying, okay, that is why I am unique, the user will not think you're unique and user may not even accept that paradigm that
True.
I'm okay with using WhatsApp, I'm okay using with email, I don't want a combination of two.
Hmm.
Okay. Now, the idea of unique is to be able to do something for the user that the user is currently not able to do without your tool, or is actually doing it far more inconveniently than the he or she can do with your tool.
Right.
Okay, so either something is not possible or something is extremely inconvenient that the person is already doing, and without your tool, that person may or may not be able to do without your tool. Okay,
Right. Hmm.
so the idea of uniqueness, actually building a unique product, is always about building a unique product for a unique user, not for yourself. And
Right.
that is essentially an outward looking question saying, am I building something unique for the user that I'm trying to cater to?
Hmm.
So that was the initial point I wanted to make.
Right. Okay. So here I think the first question comes that okay. So basically, what you are saying, if I have to summarize it in a line, is that when someone is coming out with their own product, instead of looking at the competition, as in the other products in the market, and trying to go one up on them, they should be trying to understand whether the audience, their target audience, wants something, a solution like that or not.
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So number one is to build something that people want.
Hmm.
Okay, if you build something that people don't want, and
Hmm.
many a times people build something that people don't want. Okay,
Right.
you have to build something that people want. So
Ah,
if you build something that people don't want, then it's of no use, basically.
right.
So that is the reason why you see so many messaging applications are there, but we only use two.
Right. True. So
So
how does
first thing
one?
is,
Hmm. Go on.
so first thing is build something that people want. So there is evidence on you. So typically, a lot of times there is a leap of faith in deciding what users want. So, for example, great visionary thinkers like Steve Jobs can imagine what the users want without actually users telling them, and can imagine for the user
And without the
uh,
user even knowing, probably.
without the user even knowing that the user wants this, right? So for them, it's possible, and they make billion-dollar investments in ideas based on that one judgment that they have, right? Many times it goes right, sometimes it goes wrong. I agree, but they make those kind of investments behind that. But a far greater number of population is so falling short of actually finding a real need for the user and catering to that need. Sometimes we invent our own needs as the user's need. We make that psychological jump, saying if I want this or if I'm excited about this, then the user will also be excited about it. And this happens to everyone.
Right.
So, yeah,
It's very human. Yeah.
it's very human.
Okay. So here I think the first thing that comes is, so uh, how should somebody who's developing a product go about it then?
Man, so this was the exact question that I asked to this guy, your Alan Grant. Okay. So
Mm,
among entrepreneurial community, there is something called user validation. Okay.
mm,
User
mm,
validation is like a huge term in early stage products, where you
mm,
say that I'm building something and I'm validating from users that it is good, okay, and it
mm,
is something that they want. And that validation can be in many forms. The validation can be you do a demo and ask them, is that okay? That is the weakest form of validation, right? You can give them you can give them a concept presentation and ask them, do you
mm,
think you want this? That's the weakest form of validation. Then the slightly stronger form of validation is you do a demo and you ask them, would you like this? That's the slightly stronger form of validation. Second one is you ask them to pay for it.
mm.
Okay. That's an even stronger, pay a small amount for it. That's an even stronger of evidence of validation.
Right.
The fourth evidence of validation, ask them to pay a larger number. And that is another evidence of
Right.
validation. And the last one is get them to use it.
Mm,
Force them to use it and see if adoption happens. And the best
mm,
would be that you just leave it in their environment and adoption happens automatically. And
mm.
that last one is actually the holy grail, is actually the proof of the pudding. That you just leave it in the wild and people are lapping it up like crazy because they really, really want a solution to that problem. Right?
Mm,
So that's what happens to the WhatsApps of the world, to the Facebooks of the world, to
mm.
the mm, to the TikToks of the world, where people just adopt. I mean, I don't think TikTok adoption was as painless as Facebook and WhatsApp.
Mm,
TikTok actually paid money to create content for people to start adopting. But
mm.
if you look at Facebook and WhatsApp, they got adopted like crazy without people having to do anything.
Right.
That's where you want to be.
Right. But what I can
Mm,
sense is a kind of a chicken and egg problem. Like, for example, to start building a product, you have to know a target audience and what they
mm,
want, right?
mm, mm,
Then, suppose that judgment itself is wrong, and you present your case to a set of people who are not even your target audience.
mm.
So how does one go about that?
Man, deep. Okay. Okay, so fantastic question. So, see, mm, basically, you're
Maybe you
absolute.
can just take your time. You can we at least I
I'll
have
give you.
already few words.
I'll give you some answers and see if they are good enough first. So, one is a lot of time presenting your idea to the world, exposing your idea to the world is sometimes you don't have a choice. You have to make that judgment call that I am going to present my idea to the world and I'm going to keep showing it to the world. Okay. But how much effort are you putting in presenting that idea to the world
Hmm.
is there is a huge gradient there. Okay. So Alan Grant was talking about building demos in a week, right?
Hmm.
And getting
Right.
users to use it. So 1 week I'll sit and I'll make a demo and I'll get users to use it.
Hmm.
That was Alan Grant's approach. That I'll get it built in a week. I'll get users to use it and we'll see whether users are adopting or not. They want more of it or not, right?
Hmm.
Uh, so that is one method, and and the other method is you build a disciplined product, but you cut off all the fat and the bells and whistles. You build very much the basic product,
Hmm.
okay,
Hmm.
and you ask users, you see if users are lapping it up or not.
Hmm.
Right? So that is one way of reducing the wastage of effort in going to the user. So you don't have to have world class UI. You don't have to have world class other things before the user shows you signs that the user is actually adopting this and using this and stuff like that.
Just a bare bones, just the essentials kind of a
Absolutely.
thing.
Just an essentials. And especially, see, the size of software gets bloated like crazy as and when you add features.
Hmm.
Because if you add three features, you have to add the effort for those three features and also the effort to maintain those three features across all devices, across all. So it kind of is not a linear growth in effort. It's not exponential, but it's slightly more than, you can call it a multiplier growth. So it gets complicated really fast. So if you can like pinpoint that one particular need and cater to that one particular need and build software only for that and measure adoption, the degree
Hmm.
of adoption, I'm telling you, like
Hmm.
the 6 degrees of adoption, we can call it.
Hmm.
Um, that would be the ultimate. Hmm,
Way to go about it, maybe.
yeah, yeah. The 6 degrees of adoption is actually quite interesting, right?
Okay, what
We're
is it?
talking about we're talking about degree one is you make a concept presentation and you ask user for feedback, positive feedback.
Okay.
Second one is you make give the person a demo and you get positive feedback. The
Hmm.
third one is you ask the person to you ask the person to pay a small amount for it and use it, right?
Hmm.
Small token amount. It's like just then the other one is you ask the person to pay a large amount and use it, right?
Hmm.
Then you ask a person to force them to use it and see if they use it.
Hmm.
And the final one is you don't force them, you don't do anything, you just leave it in their environment and they just slap it up. So these are the 6 degrees of adoption, if I can
Okay.
call it that.
Okay, great. So, so basically, what you're saying, you were saying before this point, is that a minimum degree of guesstimation is also required initially,
It's kind of
wherein
necessary,
you
yeah.
kind of are in the ballpark of ki, okay, these people might need this, most probably need this, and
Hmm.
then let's see what they don't and what they exactly need.
Yeah, yeah.
So
It
it
is a
will.
risky enterprise. It is a risky enterprise, no doubt. But
Hmm.
you
You're right.
control the risk by minimizing the amount of resources you put behind before you have started the validation process.
Right. Right.
Hmm.
Okay. Okay. So, another thing is, okay, how does suppose I am a person who wants to create a product for the people, for the masses,
Hmm.
or
Hmm.
maybe a particular niche, whatever.
Hmm. Hmm.
So, how does one go looking for, because right now, like, there are millions of companies mushrooming around the country, around the world. So
Hmm.
how, what's the process like of finding out what you want to do? Is there a process behind it? Do you do some research, or how do you go about that?
So
As
how
compared
should
with-
an entrepreneur go about it?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
Like, how should, okay, which, how do I find my niche? He might be an expert in something, but there may be everything that suppose he, let's take this WhatsApp example only. Let's suppose he is good at designing or making a messaging app, but that's
Hmm.
already there. Like, there are tons of
Hmm.
messaging apps already there, WhatsApp being the top of the food chain. And so what does he do
Hmm.
now? Does that mean that all hope is lost, or what does he, how does he go from there?
Yeah, so all hope is definitely not lost. Okay, number one, because all new products most new products have always an opportunity to invent a future.
Hmm.
Okay, you are living in a malleable future. You are living in a malleable present, for which you can invent a future. It's not cut in stone. But that inventing a future has many variables in it. Can you invent a future? Will you invent a future? Is the question. Now, I would say, I mean, I can think of, I see, there are two things that I feel is quite important. One is you pick an area that you're really passionate about. Okay? That's something that you're not going to give up tomorrow or day after just because something is hard. So pick an area that you're really, really passionate about, and you'll stick with that area for long enough, right? And second one is go talking to people to find unsolved problems. Go talking to users in that area to find unsolved problems. And finding unsolved problems is very easy. Okay, finding unsolved problems is actually very easy. Problems are all around you. Like, for example, today in India, legal system is like takes crazy amount of time to deliver results, right?
True.
So that is a problem. Roads in Bangalore are really, really bad. Ambulances take a lot of time to reach hospitals. So finding problems is actually very easy.
Yeah.
Solving them in a way that is,
Actually
solving them
helpful. Hmm.
actually helpful and is creating a result is the
Hmm.
difficult bit. And that is
Right.
where you need
Okay.
expertise from the
Right.
people, from the technologies who have potential solutions to your problems.
Hmm.
Sometimes it could be that the potential solution to your problem is in a technology that you did not even think of. Like,
Hmm.
for example, the problem of transporting from cities that are 300 to 300 kilometers odd away, is proposed to be hyperloop. Like hyperloop is the best way to transport between cities that are 300 to 500 kilometers away, like Gujarat, Ahmedabad, Mumbai, and Chennai, Coimbatore, Bangalore, Coimbatore, for example, right? Pune, Mumbai. So, but that comes like if you're an aircraft engineer, you'll think from an aircraft perspective. That, okay, what kind of an aircraft that I can build? But there was somebody who thought of a hyperloop. Um, so sometimes the technologies that you're picking to solve a problem can also become a handicap for solving that problem. But most often, it is actually a combination of finding the person with a skill in a particular technology and examining that problem to its fundamental spaces. And so I would recommend two things. One is pick an area that you're really passionate about. But third is second one is find people and talk to a lot of people about their problems. And that's not very hard.
Okay. So I have two immediate questions. So I'll just state the questions first so that I don't forget the questions. Okay.
Mhm.
So the first question is that it is about, you said that a person needs to be really passionate about what they will pursue,
Mhm.
right? As so that is one thing. And second question is regarding uh, at what stage does a product owner decide to go all in? Okay, so now I'll just quickly, now that I've stated the two questions, I'll come back
Will
to
you
the,
remember your statements?
I hopefully, yeah.
So say that again. Say that again.
Okay, first one is, I'll ask the first one next. Okay, the second question was that at what stage of finding out, or okay, now he's presented the he's got thought of an idea. Now he's
Mhm.
presented to the people he thinks will get value from it. Then he's got some
Mhm.
feedback. Maybe he's also come up with an MVP. Now he started developing his product. So at what stage does that guy go full in? As in he gets all the resources required. That's as in he scales up his resources
Yeah, yeah. So
to
that's a
go
very,
fully.
very good question. That's a very good question.
But I'll
And
ask
that's
that
where,
second. But I'll ask that second. Okay.
okay,
So just if you can also remember it with me.
I'll remember it very well.
Okay. So the first question that I want to ask you is, okay, you said that it's very important to be passionate about something that you are, kind of building a product around.
Hmm.
So on a scale of 0 to 10, where 10 being passionate, 0 being zero interest, and 5
Hmm.
being merely interested. Okay.
Hmm.
So if a person is at 6, which means he's interested but not really passionate, do you think that also works? Because then
Not
his
really.
interest, I'll tell you why I'm asking this.
Hmm.
For example, let's say there's a person who's really passionate about, um, let's say, starting a an
Cafe.
okay, cafe. All right.
Hmm.
Now there
Hmm.
are multiple cafes around these days. There's
Hmm.
Coffee Day, there's Barista, there's Starbucks, the works. Okay.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
now it's kind of, let's say the coffee industry is kind of saturated. The cafe business is kind of saturated. But that's
Hmm.
his true passion. But he's
Hmm.
seeing that the market opportunity is not really there right now
mm, mm,
in that case, but he has different interests. Suppose his
mm,
other interest is tea, whereas
mm,
he's okay in the tea industry. Let's say that the market is not that saturated, but he also
mm,
enjoys tea a lot. Not
mm,
as much as coffee. Coffee is his passion, as in
mm,
cafes are his passion. But
mm,
chai cafe, he's also interested in that.
mm,
So, do you think that that is enough? So, on an interest level, maybe let's say he's a 6 or a 7. To if I
mm,
have to, so
mm.
should he pursue that, or should he only go for the 10?
Yeah.
Although the
Interesting question. It's an interesting question. There's no right answer to it, but I can tell you my answer.
huh,
So, see, typically, and maybe my understanding, my worldview is this, that
hmm,
sustainable, long-term, strong companies get
hmm,
built by strong advantages that you bring that cannot be easily duplicated. Okay. So you have built something and you have built something that cannot be very easily duplicated. Of course, you are at the right place at the right time, no doubt about it. But at the
hmm,
same time, you have constantly invested and you have the capabilities to build something uh, that cannot be easily duplicated. For example,
hmm,
WhatsApp was at the right place at the right time. Okay,
right,
but we also had tremendously amazing consistency in delivering messages. I can't
hmm,
remember a time where a WhatsApp message did not get delivered, but I
true,
remember times where emails did not get delivered. I can remember times when SMSs did not get delivered,
true,
right? But I can't remember a time that WhatsApp messages did not get delivered. I can't remember a time where that WhatsApp, remember, came even before Android became big, where there were like a host of different devices, and
right,
they were the first one to support an internet-based messaging across all host of devices, right? And
hmm,
probably support some 5,000 devices, which
hmm,
had 1,500 operating systems,
hmm,
and they had a team of 4 members,
hmm,
right? Just a 4 member technology team.
right,
And they managed all of this.
hmm,
And whenever their heavy usage came, they were able to scale up their, engineering capability to a great extent. So they were able to deliver great experience. So they got lucky with the product market fit, but they were able to deliver great experience because of that skill, which was not easy to duplicate.
hmm.
Okay.
So you're saying
So
that only comes from passion, not mere
that
interest.
that requires you to face significant challenges
Hmm,
that doesn't happen overnight. uh,
right,
so your ability to withstand significant challenges is necessary for that. So you could become a success because of an opportunity that you landed. Okay, but it won't last very long. You won't be a market leader for more than 18 to 20, 36 months if
okay,
you have gotten lucky that way.
okay, okay, got it, pretty clear. Okay, so the next question was, like, at what
At what
stage?
stage? Yeah. So this is now debatable. Okay. There are many answers to these questions, and different types of people have with different philosophy have different answers.
Hmm,
My answer to this is you should go all out after your unit economics is clear. That means you have
hmm,
created some sort of a technology where per transaction you're making more money that you're spending to acquire a customer, to service the customer. Everybody in your business is getting paid properly per transaction, right? So if I'm doing one car trip in Uber, Uber is making money from it. Okay,
hmm,
so
hmm,
that's the unit economics of a transaction that is cash positive or net positive for the company who's running that product or service. Right.
hmm,
Once you become net positive per transaction, that is when you should go all out. Okay. That is my take on when you should go all out, when you should start scaling into hyperscale, hyper growth mode.
okay,
But there are people who don't believe that. There are people who believe that it's too late and other people can enter the market and copy you and then put money and then
huh,
become. So, for example, Reliance Jio did the exact opposite, right? They put a
huh,
lot of money in the beginning and they were actually cash negative, and they scaled up when they were cash negative. and they became huge, offering free services and stuff like that. And their plan is to make money over time,
Right.
in the future and stuff like that.
Right.
So, that's not how I would recommend. Maybe what I'm saying is extremely conservative, and maybe what Mukesh Ambani did was extremely adventurous. So maybe there is a midway somewhere.
Okay. So yeah, there can also be a middle ground. True.
Hmm. Hmm.
Okay.